Hello to all astrology enthusiasts. In this video, I want to discuss an astrological event, the new moon in Taurus, which took place on April 27th, 2025, and marked the beginning of a period lasting until November 5th, 2025. Let me remind you that the waxing moon will be in effect until May 12th, 2025, which means it's a time for manifesting, planning, and launching our projects and ideas. And in this video, I want to take a detailed look at which house of the horoscope this astrological event will play out in for each of the 12 zodiac signs. Aries. The new moon in Taurus took place in your second house of the horoscope and activated themes related to your personal finances, self-esteem, value system, and material resources. In general, Taurus, or in astrology, symbolizes and is responsible for stability, material wealth, comfort, security, and our financial stability. And here, the new moon will encourage you to focus your attention precisely on building a solid financial foundation. For you, the second house is the sphere of resources, the topic of income, and the subject of personal values. And during this period, a key starting point for you may be the question of how you approach finances, money, and your overall well-being in life. And accordingly, the new moon will create specific situations related to reassessing your finances. In other words, this is the perfect moment to pause and analyze your financial habits and beliefs. You may feel a desire to improve your financial situation and make attempts to find new sources of income, or, without a doubt, to reconsider your expenses, or to make some important, significant decisions about major purchases that will bring you long-term benefits. In addition, there will be specific situations related to the search for stable sources of income. That is, if you want to increase your financial independence, this is a very good period to start looking for or creating stable, reliable sources of income. For example, through your career or some additional projects. Here, you can also start making long-term investments in your life or begin building up savings. And naturally, during this new moon, the topic of your self-esteem and sense of self-worth will also become relevant for you. There will be situations where you will start paying attention to your inner values. In other words, the new moon will raise the question of what is important to you in life, what you truly value. You may feel the need to strengthen your self-esteem, to redefine what is valuable to you and what you actually want to achieve. You might feel a desire to reinforce, so to speak, your self-confidence, right? Or maybe you're working with a psychologist and are currently working through these topics, self-confidence, and this too will eventually bring a certain financial, positive outcome in the future. Naturally, new business opportunities are opening up here. You can launch your own projects, businesses, or startups. And, well, it would also be good to resolve any old debt-related issues. In other words, anything related to finances. You can sort out your financial obligations definitely and clear your financial space, so to speak, for something new. And in order to ground the energy of this new moon, first and foremost, you need to pay attention to the financial aspect of your life. And at the most basic level, engage, for example, in financial planning or develop some specific plan to increase your income and improve your financial situation. Here it's important, for instance, to sort out your budget, analyze your sources of income and expenses, and perhaps define a new strategy for yourself. It's also very beneficial here, if it's relevant for you, to perform gratitude rituals, specifically in the context of money, material resources, and property. And of course, this is a great time to make long-term investments in yourself. For example, this could be related to education. Maybe you want to improve your financial skills and can now start learning about financial literacy, for instance. And in the future, this will also bring you certain financial results. So it's important here to do everything that will help you work through and direct your actions toward money, self-esteem, your confidence, and re-evaluating your value system. In other words, your focus should be directed here. Accordingly, to ground this energy, you need to take concrete actions. Well, I wish you success. See you soon. Taurus. The new moon in Taurus has happened in your zodiac sign, in your first house of the horoscope. For you, of course, this is a special new moon. This is a unique moment for launching new energies in your life, which, above all, focus you on personal transformation, on the themes of your personal self-expression. In other words, a completely new stage in life is beginning for you. The first house is the house of personality, the house of appearance, our behavior, our impression. It's the first impression we make, how we present ourselves to the world, how we perceive ourselves and how others perceive us. And for you, this is a powerful start to a new path. Here you can set absolutely all your planned ideas into motion, whether it's in the business sphere, your career, or your personal life. Here, it's especially beneficial to focus on your aspirations, your plans and desires according to the first house of the horoscope. In other words, a new stage in life is beginning for you. By the way, this can relate to your appearance, your lifestyle, your career, or a new position. That is, you might simply feel the urge to update your image or change your behavior in interactions with others. This is a great time to pay attention to your personal goals and ambitions in general. Perhaps to reconsider your life goals and ask yourself questions that concern your own self. In other words, who you really are, what is important to you, what you value, and what you want to develop within yourself. All of this relates to the first house, and the new moon is happening precisely in your first house. And it's also very beneficial to get rid of everything old patterns, old models of behavior. In other words, anything that holds back your growth needs to be let go, and you should choose novelty in your life. In order to ground the energies of this new moon in your first house of the horoscope, the first important thing to do is, of course, to plan your actions. Identify the specific priority areas of life, the mama, that begin precisely with yourself, whether it's your career, in personal relationships, or actions aimed simply at your personal charisma or the expression of your leadership potential. All of this is about you. And it's also very beneficial to work on your body, your appearance, and to take care of your health. In other words, any actions directed toward yourself personally will help ground this energy to your advantage. Well, I wish you success. See you soon. Gemini, the new moon in Taurus took place in your 12th house of the horoscope. And for you, this is an excellent period to draw certain conclusions, and work on your inner world. Moreover, this inner work will directly affect your personal stability. This will relate to your financial sphere, personal relationships, and your professional life as well. In general, the 12th house is responsible for everything hidden, for the deeper aspects of our lives. It is more connected to internal processes, our subconscious, certain spiritual quests, and our personal limitations. And of course, this is about intuition, about completing major life cycles. You are in fact preparing for a new stage in your life. Of course, when the new moon is already in your sign, that's when you can really get started. But right now, it's important, so to speak, to get rid of things, to declutter, to clear your space, your life, your mind of everything. That could actually hinder your development in the future. And naturally for you, this is primarily a period of self-reflection and self-analysis. In other words, this is a time when you may want to withdraw, close yourself off, think things over, analyze, dig deep, realize something, maybe even have some insights or revelations. All of this can be done precisely during this period. That is, to free yourself from certain old emotional blocks and fears. By the way, you can work with a specialist, start psychotherapy, and do some deep psychological work, or you could simply go on a journey, a long solo trip, in order to once again devote time and attention to yourself, to sort things out within yourself. Intuition works very well here. It really does. It guides us, gives us hints, and provides insights. This is a good time to bring things to a close, to reveal everything that was, for example, hidden or that you were dissatisfied with. It could be secret personal relationships that it's time either to end or to take to a new level and, for instance, make them visible or official. This is a great time to engage in spiritual practices, meditation, relaxation, anything that helps calm the mind, reflect, analyze, recover, rest, and prepare for a new stage in life. Naturally, in order to ground this energy, you definitely need to pay attention to these areas of life, self-analysis and meditation. In other words, it's the right moment to explore your inner world, to let go of old pains, certain patterns and beliefs. You can do written practices if that helps you. Or, for example, you can immerse yourself in esoteric knowledge. The 12th house also overlaps with the 8th for us. Discover some new information for yourself. Find certain answers specifically in hidden knowledge that will help you, yes, to transform your life. It is very important to rest. It is very important to spend time alone, to free yourself from the past. You can engage in creative activities that bring all these emotions, suppressed emotions, to the surface and help you release and cleanse them. All of this can be done during this new moon. Well, I wish you success. See you soon. Cancers, the new moon in Taurus, took place in your 11th house of the horoscope and of course brought new energies into the themes of this house. Energies connected to social groups, your social contacts, friends, collective and large-scale projects, as well as long-term goals or dreams. The 11th house is the house of hopes, the house of desires, the house of our future prospects. This is the place where we communicate a lot with those around us, with friends and like-minded people. For you, this is a time to form and create new connections, new acquaintances, including online dating. It's an excellent time to launch online projects, anything related to the internet space and projects involving large groups of people. Any initiatives that require teamwork or group collaboration are best started right now. They will be very stable, long-lasting, and of course will also bring financial benefits into your life. The new moon itself will create situations connected to new opportunities, specifically in collective activities. In other words, you can start new projects, join certain social groups or clubs that will help you move toward achieving your own goals. This could involve participating in some kind of public activity, organization, charity, or volunteering. It could be working on joint projects, or interacting with friends. Here you can also reconsider your friendships in general. And for example, end relationships that no longer nourish, satisfy, or bring you joy. Or on the contrary, strengthen certain friendships and interactions. It's very beneficial to rethink your goals and desires for the future, for the distant, more long-term future. And moreover, this should definitely be connected to your social fulfillment. It's a great time to set new plans. or to reconsider your ambitions, to prioritize something in this regard. Well, during this new moon, it's a good time to meet new people, to create new connections, new social networks, contacts. Here you can also receive group support. Maybe on the contrary, your friends will now support some idea or project of yours. In general, everything related to large groups of people, to social life, will be relevant for you here. And in order to ground this energy, first of all, you need to work clearly on your goals, ambitions, and life plans. It's very beneficial to actively communicate with friends, to participate in large projects or cultural events. It could be entertainment events, concerts, festivals, anything related to joint activities or group events will be relevant for you here. So you should get involved, immerse yourself, and ground this energy through action. Well, I wish you success. See you. Leos, the new moon in Taurus took place in your 10th house of the horoscope, the house of career, your professional image, reputation, and your social status. The 10th house also concerns official marriage and formal relationships. And during this period, it took a sort of corridor of opportunities is opening up for you in terms of your career. So with the new moon in Taurus, and considering that Taurus is an earth sign, which is all about stability and steadiness, this new moon will create situations for you, specific situations connected to the beginning of a new stage in your career. This could also be a pivotal period in your professional life. In other words, it's a time when you need to set new career goals, develop a new strategy, or start new projects or a business. And all of this will eventually lead to a certain financial outcome. Moreover, in November, you will already see some concrete results from your efforts. New opportunities for advancement, promotion, a new position, or some changes in your professional activity will open up here. This is also a good time to reassess your professional ambitions. You might start asking yourself what you want to achieve in your career, or what steps you need to take to realize your ambitions and professional plans. This is also a very good time to pay attention to your reputation or your public image, the persona, that you have created for yourself in society. Maybe something needs to be changed, improved, or strengthened, although this could also play out negatively. You might also participate in some public events during this time. It's an excellent period for promoting yourself through social media. It's also a great time to improve relationships and connections with management, colleagues, and influential people. In other words, this is the time to make yourself known on a professional level. There will be career offers, opportunities, new projects, or chances for advancement in your current field. And accordingly, there will be a focus on responsibility and discipline, because after all, this is the 10th house. This may relate not only to your career, but also to your personal marital relationships. Perhaps it is during this period that you will take your personal relationship to an official level. All of this. Our 10th house is responsible for all of it. Accordingly, in order to ground the energies of this new moon, you definitely need to pay attention to these areas of your life and take concrete actions that will help you with your professional self-realization. You can clearly plan out certain actions, in the context of your career aspirations. You can also work on your ambitions. You can pay attention to your relationships with your management or with influential people. Of course, it's important here to maintain a balance between work and personal life. And accordingly, anything you want for your career in the future, now is the perfect time to start initiating and implementing it. I wish you success. See you soon. Virgos. The new moon in Taurus took place in your 9th house of the horoscope, and the entire focus now shifts to expanding your horizons, your worldview, and the pursuit of knowledge and information, as well as building new meanings in your life. In general, the 9th house, besides being the house of a person's luck, is also the house of philosophy, life philosophy, higher education, long-distance travel, our spiritual quests, and so to speak, our personal wisdom. And here, the new moon opens up a period for you when you will want to expand intellectually through new ideas, learning, and opportunities, especially everything related to foreign or international matters. This includes any business partnerships with foreigners or personal relationships with people from abroad, from another culture, or of a different faith. All of this is being set in motion for you with this new moon, and it will create specific situations connected to the beginning of a new educational journey. Perhaps right now you will decide to enroll in a higher education institution, and if it's abroad, that will be especially favorable. Or you might want to earn a diploma, a certificate, or learn something new. Or during this new moon, you might meet someone who will become a mentor to you in some area of your life and share their knowledge with you. Here you will feel a powerful urge to travel, to discover entirely new countries, cultures, and the traditions of other people. This is truly the house of long-distance journeys. Moreover, these journeys will be accompanied by a kind of spiritual quest. It's possible that you will take a trip to another country, and this journey will completely change your worldview for a long time, or it may alter some of your beliefs and attitudes. Also, it's beneficial to participate in various educational events of an international level here. And it's a good time to engage in teaching activities or to resolve any legal or juridical matters. And in order to ground the energy of this new moon in your 9th house of the horoscope, you definitely need to pay attention to these areas of life as well. For example, if you've decided to study at a university or start learning a new foreign language, now is the perfect time to begin. And in November, you will already see the results of your efforts, tangible ones at that. In other words, you will clearly see what you have achieved. It's a great time to plan trips and go traveling, as well as to practice meditation, study various philosophies, and seek out information related specifically to spirituality and the spiritual side of our lives. This is an excellent period to incorporate theoretical knowledge into your life and test how it works in practice. Overall, I wish you success. Use this energy to your advantage. See you soon. Libra, the new moon in Taurus took place in your 8th house of the horoscope, and of course here it directs your attention to the deep processes that are happening in you personally, personal crises or some kind of transformations. That's what the 8th house is all about. Also, financial matters will come to the forefront here, especially those connected to your, say, marriage partner or more generally to other people's money. In addition, the 8th house can also bring up personal situations related to your relationships, specifically in the context of the intimate side of life. Here, topics such as loyalty and a serious, responsible approach will be touched upon, both in terms of finances, like inheritance, loans, debts, and also in relation to your intimate connections or issues of personal transformation. Additionally, the new moon in Taurus may open up the realm of esoteric knowledge for you, and you might find yourself delving into these subjects. The new moon will create specific situations where you will need to reassess your financial obligations, financial matters related to loans, debts, taxes, various payments, and joint budgets. Any financial commitments will come to the forefront. There will be transformations in personal relationships, particularly those involving your your partners or spouses, specifically in the context of intimacy and intimate connections. Maybe now is the perfect time to pay attention to the level of trust, yes, the level of intimacy in your personal relationships. There will be situations where you will need to make decisions about shared resources, joint finances, financial projects, or investments. This is a good time to launch investments or certain business projects. The 8th house is also responsible for entrepreneurship, and accordingly set aside situations where you need to work with your personal power, your inner crises, more fears, inner emotions, and certain internal blocks. All of this will be activated by this new moon in order to make you more stable and resilient. And as a result, everything unnecessary will leave, will be transformed, and will change. In order to ground the energy of this new moon, first and foremost, it is important to plan your finances, especially shared ones, joint resources. Yes, whether it's income or certain debt obligations. It's also beneficial to do psychological work related to yourself personally, or to go into psychotherapy. This will also help ground the energy. Let go of everything old, as I mentioned, old resentments, any toxic relationships, or perhaps intimate connections that no longer bring you joy. And of course, pay more attention to your personal relationships, more seriously, more responsibly, because the 8th house specifically focuses us on this area of life to build more trust, to strengthen the bond, or even to end it altogether. In general, this is quite an interesting period for you. I wish you success. See you soon. Scorpios, the new moon in Taurus took place in your 7th house of the horoscope and completely shifts your focus to the topic of partnership, relationships, and cooperation. The 7th house is responsible for personal relationships, marital relationships, business partnerships, business interactions, client relationships, and also, if relevant for you, the manifestation of open enemies. And here the new moon opens up completely new beginnings for you. In other words, this is a period for new projects, initiatives, and changes related to any kind of interactions, both personal and business. So there will be new opportunities here for business, for signing contracts and agreements, including personal relationships as well. Perhaps during this new moon, in this period, you will make the decision to enter into an official marriage or, on the contrary, to dissolve one. And this new moon will bring you a divorce, perhaps a long-awaited divorce, for example. Here, you may meet people who are important to you, including partners in your personal life. In other words, truly important partners come into our lives, those with whom we are ready to build long-term relationships or successful collaborations. That is, the new moon gives us the opportunity to harmonize any kind of interaction, to establish stable and mutually beneficial connections. And in addition, this is a time when you can reassess any of your relationships and decide for yourself, for example, whether you want to end an interaction or whether you want to strengthen a certain connection. Build more trust, make the relationship, say, closer or more loyal, or agree on specific terms within the relationship, define shared goals, common aspirations and plans. So this is a very good period specifically in the context of any kind of interaction. And in order to ground the energies of this new moon, you definitely need to be open and engage in honest, trusting dialogues. It doesn't matter whether these are personal relationships or business partnerships. This will all help you harmonize your interactions or resolve any conflicts, misunderstandings, and thereby improve your relationships. Everything related to strengthening partnership interactions will be especially relevant for you right now. You can do this through joint activities with your partner. For example, in your personal life, this could be walks, conversations, or working on projects together. It's also very helpful to voice your expectations, set personal boundaries in relationships, get to know each other well, make new acquaintances, and accordingly engage in any relaxing practices that allow you, first of all, to calm your mind if you're feeling emotional and to figure out what you want in your relationships. Well, I wish you success. Sagittarius. The new moon in Taurus has taken place, and it occurred in your 6th house of the horoscope. Over the next 6 months, your attention will be focused on your health, your work, interactions with your colleagues, working conditions, or interactions with management, as well as your daily routine. The 6th house in general is responsible for caring for others, for service, and for the application of our professional skills. And the new moon here opens up new opportunities for you. In other words, this is an energetic period that will allow you, first of all, to sort out these areas of your life and, for example, to strengthen your health. Over the next 6 months, perhaps you want to get a health checkup or undergo some wellness procedures, or maybe take a long-term vacation to recover, for instance. The new moon will create specific situations for you related to new beginnings and opportunities at work, such as launching new projects, improving your professional activities, or anything connected to organizing your work environment. Or maybe you'll want to put things in order at work, streamline certain processes, optimize some workflows, or implement new systems, anything that will, so to speak, boost your work productivity. And it's also a great time to focus on a healthy lifestyle, as I mentioned, during this new moon, starting anything that will help improve your physical and emotional well-being. You can start exercising or get a medical checkup. And it's also a good time to bring order to your everyday routines in general. And if we're also talking in the context of work, you can take some training courses, improve your professional qualifications, or if you have any conflicts or misunderstandings with your colleagues, this new moon gives you the opportunity to resolve these situations for the long term. And in order to ground this energy, you need to work on your habits, especially if they're bad habits. Now is the perfect time to get rid of them, to start a new, say, type of diet or exercise, or a new way of resting that will improve and strengthen your health. And it's also good to pay attention specifically to your work sphere and everything related to your professional fulfillment. For example, if you have a very heavy professional workload and a high level of stress, it's important to practice relaxation techniques and lighten your load, to reconsider your daily routine, sleep, schedule, and work hours. This is exactly what this new moon in Taurus allows you to do. Well, I wish you success. See you soon. Capricorns. The new moon in Taurus took place in your 5th house of the horoscope. And here, it will bring activity and energy specifically to areas related to your creative fulfillment, your personal self-expression, as well as the themes of pleasure, joy, and enjoyable leisure. The 5th house is also associated with love, romantic relationships, and interactions with children. And here, the new moon will stimulate you to take actions aimed at creating something new in these areas of your life. In other words, there will be new opportunities. For example, it may create specific situations where you can express yourself creatively, launch a creative project, or devote attention to your hobby. And here, the new moon brings inspiration and a desire to express yourself through art, music, dance, or really any form of self-expression. You will feel that the time has come to develop your talents, to create something unique. If we're talking about romantic relationships, then first of all, there will definitely be new acquaintances that will allow you to start new love relationships. Or there may be opportunities to renew your current relationship, becoming closer, strengthening trust, or taking the relationship to a new level. In general, it would be very good for you to stay open to any romantic experiences and enjoy them. After all, this is the house of pleasures. Any interactions with children, everything related to parenting, to spending quality time with your children, will also be positively highlighted here. And of course, more entertainment, more relaxation. Also, the 5th house is responsible for gambling. Perhaps this area is relevant for you. The only thing is, be careful, Almo, and pay close attention to the risks involved. And in order to ground the energy of the new moon in this house, pay attention to your creative impulses, projects, and self-expression. Rest more, enjoy yourself more, find joy, and engage in your interests and hobbies. Spend more time in nature or with friends or with your romantic partner specifically, in the context of romantic relationships. Accordingly, all of this will help to ground the energy. Pay more attention to your relationships with your children. Spend time together. This is really a parental period, if that's relevant for you. And express yourself more. Announce yourself. Showcase your talents. Well, I wish you success. See you soon. The new moon in Taurus took place in your 4th house of the horoscope and will focus your attention for the next 6 months on matters related to home, family, relationships, personal and marital relationships, or interactions with your parents. Additionally, it highlights topics such as buying or selling real estate, moving or changing your place of residence. In general, the 4th house is associated with our roots, our lineage, our family history, and that inner sense of stability in the place where we live. And the new moon here will open up an excellent period for you to harmonize these areas of life, as well as the atmosphere in your personal relationships with close relatives in your home. This is a very good time to start, for example, renovations or updating your interior, or even to change your place of residence. The new moon will create specific situations for you that are connected to changes in your family life. Perhaps you will rethink your role in the family or begin to build and create stronger, more harmonious relationships with close relatives. You will need to pay more attention to your parents or deal with some household matters. In other words, everything related to the atmosphere at home. If there are any conflicts or misunderstandings in family relationships, now is the best time to resolve them. There will be changes in your living conditions. Perhaps you will decide to move or to change, for example, from an apartment to a house. It is also very beneficial to pay attention, if it is relevant for you, to the topic of inheritance, ancestral patterns, or family history according to the 4th house. Maybe you will want to delve into the past and learn about some family traditions. And in order to ground the energies of this new moon in your 4th house, pay attention to home projects, your living space, comfort, atmosphere, and relationships with your close relatives. You can do things like cleaning, rearranging furniture, making repairs, buying or selling real estate, or buying and selling large items, for your home interior, it's also good to take care of your loved ones and your family. You can address any family matters. Strengthen your family bonds. And all of this will help ground this energy, especially in a positive way and on a long-term basis. Well, I wish you success and see you next time. Pisces, the new moon in Taurus took place in your third house of the horoscope, and now all your attention will be drawn to communication, learning, thy daily affairs, and a large number of interactions every day. The third house is associated with short trips, communication, the ability to exchange information, and maintaining connections with your close circle, including siblings and neighbors. In other words, this is a period of renewal for you when you will begin to look at your daily responsibilities, your relationships with those around you, and also at ways to generally improve these interactions, or to acquire, study, and master some new information, or to develop certain skills in a completely new way. You can start learning foreign languages. The new moon here will create situations for you that are connected with new ideas, new projects, the development of new skills, expanding your social circle, and new acquaintances. This is a great time to make use of various technologies, information resources, and gadgets. Anything that will train your intellectual activity. Now is the perfect time to incorporate it into your life. It would be good to improve your relationships with brothers and sisters, if that's relevant for you, and resolve any misunderstandings or conflicts. Take a fresh look at these family ties. It's also beneficial to actively participate in social life and, in general, to strengthen connections with people you haven't communicated with in a long time, of course, if you want to maintain those relationships. It's important to go on trips and travels, especially within the area where you live. These can be short trips that will change up your environment, but at the same time will refresh you, reveal some new information, or open up a new perspective and provide new inspiration. And without a doubt, situations related to learning processes will go well. And in order to ground the energies of this new moon, you need to really immerse yourself in these areas of life. Communicate more, interact more, engage more with any information that comes your way, and learn something new. As I mentioned, going on short trips is beneficial, and physical walks are also good. In other words, any kind of movement, any activity will help you ground yourself, and it's important here to make use of various technologies, gadgets, and social networks. Maybe you have some media projects or online projects, and during this new moon, you can express yourself very creatively and make yourself known. And this is for the long term, because this Taurus energy may also bring you some financial perks, so to speak. Well, I wish you success. Subscribe, like, and share this video. See you.